Syrian regime forces may be in the final stages of their brutal and relentless offensive to take back Aleppo from rebels. Syrian troops, backed by Russian airstrikes and special forces, are closing in on the remaining pockets of the old city held by rebel forces as the indiscriminate, intense bombing and shelling continue. A mass exodus from the embattled city is growing. Tens of thousands of terrified civilians are streaming out of eastern Aleppo on foot, many too exhausted, too malnourished. Let me bring in CNN senior correspondent Frederick Pleitgen. He was in Aleppo and is now monitoring the situation from Beirut. And Fred, you saw hundreds, if not thousands, of Syrians fleeing Aleppo. Tell us about the conditions for them.
Yeah, Jake, over the weekend, in fact, just a couple of hours ago, we were on the southern front in Aleppo, and you could really see those tens of thousands of people coming across. The devastating thing about all this is that there was a massive battle going on at that point in time. You had jets in the skies, you had mortars being fired, you had artillery being fired, and yet the only way for these people to get across the front line and try to make it to safety was to just plow right through that battlefield with their children, with a lot of elderly people as well. And you're right, a lot of these folks were very malnourished, very scared, very traumatized, and many of the children especially really way too weak to continue to carry on. And so many of them had to be carried by their parents. Some of the children were too weak to even stay awake. So it was really a devastating sight. And the big question is what awaits them next, because there are some shelters for displaced people, but not nearly enough for the tens of thousands who are trying to get out of Aleppo right now, Jake.
And how much longer do we think this battle is going to last? How close is the Assad government to capturing all of Aleppo?
Well, they say they're in the final stages of their military operations. If you look at some of the opposition sources, they also say that it really doesn't look as though the rebels are going to be able to hold out very much longer. People are saying that it could be a matter of hours. There's already pictures being broadcast on Syrian government TV, so the pro-regime channels showing alleged celebrations in the streets of Aleppo in some places. It really is unclear at this point in time. Even the Syrian government sources say there are still pockets where the rebels hold control, but it really isn't very much anymore. So it looks like could be on the brink of the rebels losing their final foothold there in Aleppo, really in the face of some very devastating firepower, Jake. And I have to say, been covering Syria and the Syrian civil war for a very long time now, and the amount of firepower that we saw in the past couple of days in Aleppo is something that I haven't seen in that civil war before. The amount of artillery, mortars, and also of airstrikes is really something that seems almost unprecedented, even by the standards that we've been seeing in Syria over the past couple of years, Jake.
All right, Frederick Pleitgen, thank you so much.